Imagine a space for South Asian women where stories are not just told, but actually felt. This is Rue, Rising Over Obstacles and Healing, brought to you by Jyoti and Monica, two friends who set out to carve a little space and make a difference by sharing stories and fostering healing and strength within our community. We invite you to listen and reflect, finding your own path one story at a time. And just for sticking around, there's a golden biscuit at the end of each episode. Hi, welcome back to Rue. So last week, we spoke with two beautiful women who shared their perspective when it comes to dating nowadays. They talked about some of the challenges that they've been facing, and we thought, why don't we listen to the other side? Why don't we find out what men are thinking? So this week, we have two young men in their 30s, single South Asian men, who are here to share their perspective. So welcome to the show, Jaspal and Mandeep. We are very happy to have you. And honestly, I don't know if you noticed, but I came with a cup of coffee in hand because I am so excited and interested to hear your side. So before we get into this, I just want you guys to know you should feel very honored that you are the very first men we have on our show. So welcome and congratulations for this amazing honor that you have been bestowed.
Thank you. Thank you. We are honored. And I'm not sure what that says about us, being the first ones on the show. Hopefully good things.
It means we value your opinions.
Yeah.
Yes, you do. Thank you. We appreciate
having
that.
us on and giving us this platform.
And also you being brave enough to come on and, let us in on your perspective and your side.
Yeah, exactly. As you know, this is a very female-centered podcast. So the reason that we wanted to hear your side is because someone had said that this is really like an epidemic, and we wanted to find out how we can actually tackle this. And I feel like the only way to do this is, not to place blame on the other side, but to really hear the other side, to listen to both sides, to figure out like what's actually going on, what's happening, why is this such an epidemic, and to really get the full picture here. So why don't you guys share how dating has been going for you guys?
Right now, I would say I'm passively dating in the sense that I'm not on the apps anymore. I have used them in the past. And that's not really the best way to meet people. So my approach has been just meeting people organically at work or in the city, going out, running into people, actually approaching girls in public, just because I don't think the apps are necessarily where I'm going to find a wife.
Mm-hmm. Are you looking for a wife at this point, or are you looking to date just to date?
Yeah, I'm dating to marry. So that's dating with a purpose. But also, like, to get to that point of finding that person, you do have to kind of be open-minded, and not everyone is looking for the same thing. So you just have to navigate through that and eventually, hopefully, get to the right person.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And what about you, Jaspal?
Yeah, similarly. I guess that's a good word, passively dating, right?
Okay.
I never used apps, never was a fan, I just can't do it. It doesn't feel real to me. So yeah, it's just like naturally letting things happen. And the intent, of course, is always to marry someone or find the one, right?
Yeah.
That's, I think, everyone's intent when they're dating. Sometimes some people might have like timelines. I feel like women do have those. Like, oh, by this age, I want to meet someone and I want to date them for a year and then get married. So that does play a large role when you're meeting people in general.
Yeah.
What their timelines are and what yours might not agree.
So are you usually upfront when you meet someone about your timeline?
Ooh, good question. No, I feel like I'm more first, like, let's get to know someone, right? Before we decide where it's going. And I don't really like to restrict myself in those ways, because what I've seen from a lot of my friends that do have timelines or did have timelines, it doesn't really work out, right? Reality is usually different, and it does cause a lot of emotional stress on either side. I don't think it's gender specific.
Yeah.
Because they have expectations, and then when you don't meet those expectations, feel like your life is falling apart. So I try to keep things easy.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. So one of the questions I have from what you guys said, because both of you mentioned that you like to meet girls organically, but what we had heard from the girls last week was that nowadays men are afraid to approach women in person, that a lot of times it's just all online and it's all through apps. So how often would you say you actually approach someone in the supermarket or at a coffee shop or when you're out and about?
I think it really depends. I mean, I'm a very picky person, so like I'm not just approaching anyone just to approach them. Once or twice a month, if I find someone that I'm really like interested in getting to know and think that there might be a future there, because I'm not looking to waste anyone's time either, right? Like my time is valuable. Your time is valuable. I'm not trying to lead anyone on.
By just looking at a girl, how do you know if there's a future there or not?
Like number one, yeah, attraction obviously is you have to have a physical attraction. I think that's the number one thing for me. And number two is, banter. And the only way you can find out if you really banter with each other and you get along is you have to do it in person, right? If you're just texting someone, yeah, they text you back. They'll think about something funny to say in 10 minutes and maybe text you back. But when you're like in person and you're having a conversation, and the conversation flows naturally, like there's something there. Whereas someone can come up with something witty and pretend to be funny 10 minutes later, an hour later, whatever, they decide to text you back. But that connection in person is the most important thing. Because if you don't have that, then, there's nothing else to go off of. Looks fade when you're 70 years old and, you can't talk about anything. There's not really a real connection there. It's more of just a physical connection.
Yeah, that makes sense. So number one is attraction. So if you see someone and you think this girl is pretty, she looks good, you're attracted to her, that's when you would approach her. And in the first, would you say like 5 minutes, you would know if she's got the banter quality that you're looking for, that she's able to banter and she's able to keep your interest and keep a conversation going?
I think so. Like I have a pretty dry, sarcastic humor. So if you can give that back to me, then I feel like we can have a connection there and we can kind of go forward from there. I mean, obviously you never, like, how they mentioned last week, you never really know someone until you live with them. And just because there is a physical attraction doesn't mean that should override no emotional connection either. In the first 3 months, like, it's a honeymoon phase, right? Like everyone's on their best behavior. Everyone's like trying to portray their best self. After the 3 month period, like usually people tend to let their guard down and you find out how they really are as a person. I think after that 3 months to a year, you find out who that person is. And then if that is something that aligns with you and your values and what you're looking for in a partner, then you can proceed and decide whether you want to get married or not. But it's tough. I mean, obviously, yeah, if you hit it off right away, sometimes you make an instant connection and it fizzles out in 2 weeks. For me, the timeline I always use is like 3 months.
Okay. And Jaspal, I want to know, what do you say when you approach a girl?
So I was going to actually say, how you said, how we approach women at like coffee shops or grocery stores. First, I feel like I don't really do that. And that's like kind of weird, right? If I'm going to get coffee before work, like I get my coffee and I'm kind of doing my thing, right? If I do want to do that, then you have to kind of go with that intention. Oh, let me go see if I could talk to someone at a coffee shop or something like that.
But how does that work though? I just want to know because like, let's say you go with the intention and there's not a single pretty girl in sight, but you're going about your day, you're going to get coffee, and then you see a girl that really catches your eye. Isn't that more organic than premeditating this?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Organic is more like you can't really go with, this is the first thing I will say, right? It's usually, let's say you have an interaction with someone and there's a little remark or a funny conversation that starts. It's usually not like predetermined. Hey, I'm going to walk in and say this and that will blow their mind, right? It's like, that's not how really it is. And usually it's more like, when you're hanging out with people, someone might bring a friend along and you get to start to know them. And that's like what I mean by organic is you meet someone, you're just hanging out, and then you're like, okay, this could be something, right? Of course, attraction is number one. That plays a big role. But as you walk down the street and you see someone attractive, you don't just like go, it's a little creepy and it's weird.
Hey, can I get your number?
Yeah. And
we had that. You guys are, obviously you're younger than us, but we had that. We would be walking down the street and you would just have like a random person going, "Oh girl, you're so beautiful. Can I get your number?" And there were creeps, just so you know. We would never, if somebody did that, like there was no chance that this person would get the number. So I guess you're on to something here. You do know that does not work.
Yeah, I would say, catcalling, I think, is not really that prevalent anymore.
Yeah. Been there, done that. I mean, well, no. Sorry. We've been the recipients of it. We have not done it. Unless if I don't know, Monica, if you were catcalling men.
Yeah. Throw it on me. I'm the one who's an introvert. You're the one that just goes up to strangers and talks to them. I don't know.
That's true. That is true. That is true.
I think, being social does help. I think we're all pretty social, right? In a social setting, we can have a conversation and like start talking. So that definitely helps. But again, like catcalling, like I guess the equivalent of that today is sliding into people's DMs, right? Like all my female friends that I know, they're just like, it's filled with just random men messaging them random stuff. Let's say someone does have good intentions, is like their one, you're just drowned by hundreds of creeps, I guess.
Yeah.
And that's another thing with all these dating apps. That's I guess that is one of the problems. The pool is so large that you feel overwhelmed, then it's hard to decide or even figure out what the next step should be if you have like 5 options, right, on your plate.
Yeah. Then FOMO kicks in, right?
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why like I don't use the app anymore, right? Because like your average girl has like 1,000 likes, and she has to go through 1,000 likes, and you're somewhere number 472, and you're never going to get seen, like, And I think most girls, like, they probably use the apps when they're bored and they're looking for some attention. They'll open up the app and they'll like, oh, hey, I got my dopamine hit for 30 minutes today, and they're not looking, realistically for a husband either. So it's like we're just feeding each other's egos here at this point.
Well, the 2 girls last week, they were saying how they felt that when they were messaging someone, that the men were talking to multiple girls at the same time. And I like your perspective right now, how you're feeling, like as if, well, I may approach a person on the app or like it, but you just feel like you're also one of, like you said, 1,000, right? So it almost feels like it's both ways.
It is both ways, 100% both ways, right?
I don't know if you guys are like read like the hot topics of Twitter or whatnot, but a guy actually ran a test. He set up a fake profile of a woman. She got 1,000 likes in the first day. She was an attractive woman, but not like a supermodel or anything. But she's getting 1,000 likes. So if the 9 or the 10 is getting probably 10,000 likes, right? And every guy wants, the most attractive woman. So to get yourself seen through that lens, if you have a good girl, like, don't give her up, because if you look in her DMs or on her Hinge or whatever, like, look, that's your competition out there. So if she's getting 10,000, like, the average guy doesn't have as many options as he thinks he does. There might be 3 or 4 girls to one guy versus 1,000 guys to like one girl.
So then why is it that you feel like, if you think the ratio is that high, that women have more choices in comparison to men, that when women are messaging guys, like, they're still filtering through so many girls? Like, they'll talk to them and they'll do that, and then all of a sudden they'll just ghost them. I don't know if you can be honest or not. Like, how open were you with your choices when you were on the app? Like, and what was your like timeline with women when you were messaging? Like, were you messaging a few at the same time? And I don't think like messaging is definitely a relationship, right? Like, it's just you trying to get to know someone. But were you also doing that?
So my use of the app was initially to, match, and then as soon as possible try to take it to a real life interaction, a date, right? Or whatever, just meet up, because I think that's the most important thing. Like, people spend too much time talking on the apps Like, if you're really serious and have intentions, the best thing is to move it to a real life interaction as soon as possible, because that'll weed out the people that are not serious, right? Like, if you don't want to meet up and you like, then you're not serious. Like, if you say you're serious about something and you have to be intentional about doing it, right? Like, I would love to win the lottery, but I don't play the lottery. So my chances of winning are 0%. If I don't go out there and actually meet people, then how am I ever going to get married? I'm not.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, and I like it that you're intentional.
Marriage isn't for everyone. Like, that may not be an end goal for the person, right? And that's perfectly fine. They might just want to be in a relationship and never get married, and that's completely fine. You know, you have to align yourself with people that have similar values as you and not waste your time with someone that, you know, doesn't share those same values.
Yeah, that makes sense. So let me ask you guys this. You know, in the past, there was always this pressure that men faced to be the provider of the family, right? So this was something that, and it's been going on for generations. Do you still find that the pressure exists to be the breadwinner, to be the provider? And do you think that women are specifically looking for someone that they know can take care of them financially?
Yeah, definitely.
100%.
Yeah. So you think that's still the case?
Well, not just to be like, oh, I just want to marry someone so they can pay for me. It's more like you want your partner to be able to, I don't know, sustain a lifestyle, whatever lifestyle you want, right?
So you still definitely feel that pressure that you have to be the provider?
Yeah, I mean, it has changed in recent years. I would say in most cases, women are a little bit more educated and make more money than men do now. So that puts a, you know, if you're into that traditional mindset of the man should be a provider, if that will add additional pressure. I'm pretty comfortable. Wouldn't say I'm the most successful person, but, you know, I do make decent money. I'll call it decent money. But definitely in, like, you know, your metropolitan cities where some of these people are making large sums of money, it does come into play. And you know, another point I'd like to make is that, like, back in your guys' days, you guys were like, thank you so much, girls, right? And what I mean by that is when a guy took you onto a nice date, you would be appreciative and you'd be like, thank you so much. Nowadays, girls are like, as he should. Like, the bare minimum now, which is another word, is it's a dinner date. You go to a dinner date in New York City, you don't even know this person, complete stranger. You get a couple drinks, you have an entree, you're looking at a $250 bill. You're dating this girl for the first time. You're spending $250. You don't even know if you have a connection with her. That's what they're expecting now.
That's my question. So is it ever divided down the middle?
Well, if you split it, then she'll never talk to you ever again because she's not going 50-50 with you on a first date. Like, she's like, oh, you want me? She'll split the bill with you. Yeah. She'll be like, oh, I'll pay for it. But then she'll never talk to you ever again. So if you're going out and spending $250 on a first date, how many first dates can you go on before you go, is this economically feasible for me to continue?
This is getting expensive.
Yeah, that is expensive. And hey, if you're trying to find a hobby too, I think you should be going in 50-50. I don't know. I mean, I understand the romantic part of it, fine. Like, it's the first date and a guy carries over. But I almost feel like this is almost like a transaction or something, right? Like, I don't know. And then the other thing, like you were saying, just Paul, like comparing the times between when our parents, the way they got married, found their partners, and then, you know, Jyoti and I did. Are you finding that this problem's a bit more prevalent in our South Asian community, given that how we've evolved on how we find our partners? Or like amongst your peer group, if you have other ethnicities, you know, Americans, do they also face this issue or not? Because for them, there's been generations of just, hey, you just go out, you know, do your thing, find someone, and then whether you want to, you know, take it to the next level, that's just their culture. Whereas I feel like now in our culture, parents are more open to it. They've allowed their children to go out and date and find their future partner.
I think when it comes to dating apps, it's probably universal, right? Like the issue that people usually talk about, it's not like just in our community, right? It's just in general, because of how the internet just works. Those problems, I think, are just no matter where you go. But in our community, like dating, it's new, right? I feel like it's not that old. Like even like 7 years ago, 8 years ago, it was just completely different. And back to like one thing about the dinner and paying for it, right? It's not like women are going out there to get free meals or are trying to use the men, right? Like, it's not the case. I think it's just they like to be pampered and they want to be shown initiative. You want to show, hey, initiative. Whether you take someone on a date and they want to see that. If they don't see the initiative, it's like the next guy might show more, so she's going to go with the next guy, right? So you do have to like one up yourself.
Well, would you do it only if you want a second date with that girl? Like, if you can tell on that first date, like, hey, I don't know if this is going to go somewhere, would you ask, like, hey, are we going to split this or what? Or no? You just take it?
No, yeah, you just, no, I think as long as you go there to have like have fun, right? On a date, like, it doesn't matter what the outcome is as long as you enjoy that interaction with someone. Even if you both walk away or one person walks away saying no, it doesn't mean like it's the end of anything, right? It just means, did you have a great dinner? Did you at least enjoy that time to get to know someone? That might not be your one, quote unquote one. At least you got to know someone and kind of understand the life that they have lived, depending on how long the conversation and how deep it is.
Yeah, I always pay for the first date, and I always pick restaurants I want to go to. So if it does end up being a bad date, at least I enjoyed the meal.
At least you got the food you wanted.
And then you chuck it up to the cost of, the dating game.
What about just like asking someone out for coffee? To me, it makes sense to have that be the first interaction, I guess, like the very, rather than being fully committed to like a dinner, which ends up being an entire evening. You meet up for like a casual cup of coffee. And this way you see if you even have any sort of connection or not. And if things go well, then you progress to possibly like having dinner together and whatnot. This way it's less of a time and money commitment, right?
Yeah, high value women don't go for coffee dates anymore. That's the new thing. That goes back to the bare minimum.
Really? See?
Wow. So our husbands really need to listen to this episode because we can't even get a coffee date.
Well, I feel honestly, I just think that it just makes sense, right? Like as a woman, I mean, and I can't speak for single women, but, as a woman, I feel like my time is valuable and I may not want to go on a dinner date with someone unless if I feel comfortable. So for somebody like me, and I'm sure there's other women who may feel that way, where it's like, it's not about self-worth or anything like that. It's more of just a practical decision. Like, hey, let's meet up for a cup of coffee and see how things go. If things go well, then yeah, let's go for dinner, right?
It's also more casual too, right? I feel like you're not so
less pressure.
Uptight, less pressure, all that. Like you said, like organically, like a setting like that is much more natural.
So I want to actually ask you guys something, okay? Both of you can have a little time to think about this, but if you had to write like a very honest biodata for yourself, and one that didn't mention your job title or your degree or your height and whatnot, what are the first 3 things that you would want a woman to actually know about your heart? So would you like to share, Jaspal?
I would say, like, if I want to represent myself, it would be, you asked for 3 things, right?
Yeah.
Number 1 thing is music and dancing. That's my number 1 thing. Like, I love music and I love going dancing. And if we don't have that first thing in common, then I'm not sure how long anything would go. So yeah, music, dancing. Second number, food. So I don't mind going out for dinner. I love food. I think most people do, right? Food is one thing that is shared across religions, cultures, even genders, right? Everyone loves eating.
Yeah.
Number 3 might be a little difficult. I feel like probably family, right? Like I love our family's so big and so it's filled with characters. And every time we hang out, it's just, I don't know, there's a different feeling to it, especially all the kids. I love seeing your kids, both of your kids. And then Saj too. I just love when I make them smile or laugh. There's nothing else that brings me joy. So I'm not sure how good of a sell that is, but that's who I am.
I like that. So you're someone who loves to listen to music, to dance, eat good food, and someone who likes being around family, likes spending time with family, will make the effort for family.
Not too much time,
You're a great catch, honestly, What about you, Mandeep?
Yeah, I would say like 3 words that describe me are probably funny, athletic, and intelligent. I like to have deep conversations. I also joke around a lot. I probably use humor a little too much.
But your humor is the kind where I feel like a person has to really understand your type of humor.
Yeah, there's definitely
it's like the more
layers to my jokes.
Like satire.
You have to kind of be in the, internet zeitgeist and, know what's going on in the world and have a little, there's an intelligence level to get some of those jokes for sure.
Yeah. None of you mentioned, well, okay, yeah, you mentioned family, which is very important. Music, dance, important. I think anyway, because I'm also someone who loves music and loves to dance. But none of you mentioned doing housework, dishes, cooking, cleaning. That's what women want, right?
But that's baseline, right? Like, it's not like a
cell.
Yeah, but that's something you should do every day,
that.
and you do already do every day.
Yeah.
It's like me showering is not a cell. I shower every day, right? Like,
I love it. Oh my gosh. It's like a light bulb went off when you said this, because I think it's years of conditioning, right? For us, like if a guy were to say, oh, I cook, I clean, I like doing dishes, I love doing laundry, we're thinking like, oh, this is great. Like this is what should sell. But you're saying this is baseline.
I actually think the opposite. I think if you said that today, I think most girls would get the ick.
What?
If a man said he loves to cook, clean, do laundry, that's not a provider.
No riz. That's not riz.
That's not what they're looking for.
Well, you're looking for someone to share the load of
that's
household
different.
chores,
That's
right?
Different. You want a man that can do that and pick up, when you're 40%, he picks up the other 60%. That's what me and Jaspal are talking about. We can do that. But if you're talking about he likes to cook, clean, do the laundry, women don't want that today. They want a provider. They want a masculine man.
So are you saying that's a given? You just need to be able to do that?
They want a masculine man who also might be a feminist. I don't know if a provider and a masculine man and a feminist are all encompassing you can get that person in
one person.
It's not like a shampoo. It's not 3-in-1.
Those don't work anyway.
Yeah.
So
you gotta get them separate.
But you can have 3 shampoos. You can't have 3 men.
Yeah, I can't have one who's providing for me and one who's cleaning for me. And it would be nice. Go from one to the other.
Okay.
So I think we're pretty much out of it. We don't know what girls want these days because we're still on what we wanted, and maybe we didn't get. I don't know, but.
I mean, okay, so they do want that, right? But when you first meet them, if you're just like, oh, these are the things I love doing, they're like, whoa, this is what you like doing, right? Like it's not as interesting.
Yeah,
it's something you should have to show over time. Hey, that you can do this. When a guy just says it, I think most women are like, okay, either you're trying to get something out of me, you're not being authentic and honest. Like this doesn't sound like a typical dude. Instead, if you are hanging out with them, you kind of have to show those qualities rather than talk about them.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, people think you're not being honest, right?
There's too much thinking going on these days. That's why you guys are all single and stuff. Our time was okay, I'm talking to this person. That's it. We're getting married. Boom.
Yeah.
All the process after was done after. How do you live? What do you do? What? You shower? You don't shower? You pass gas when, guests are around? But also, that was all learned afterwards.
To that point, I would say, being successful and being single for a long time, the barrier to access becomes a lot higher. You don't put up with the minor stuff anymore, right? First point of inconvenience, you've checked out, you're gone because you're I don't need this. I'm independent. I can handle this all on my own.
Yeah.
So I think that's why most relationships or situationships don't make it past that stage, is because when you are in your mid-30s and you are successful, your bullshit meter is up higher and your demands are a lot higher than when you're in your early 20s and you're barely scraping by and you're just having fun.
That's so funny. We've spoken about that personally off the episodes too, right? How we said when we were younger, it was like you said, the needs were less. I think you also knew less, and it was just more about just having someone, a companion to build a life, because you hadn't really started your life yet, right? You were just out of school. You either have found a job or not yet. So you were just looking for a partner. You almost were looking for someone, I feel like, I know for me personally, it was just knowing the drive that they have for the life that they want to build. You know, like those were the qualities, or like how just Paul said, like family oriented. It was like more of those simple things. And then everything else just kind of came along with that person.
Yeah, and I know like last week you guys had like women in their 30s. I'm a little bit older than just Paul, but like when you're in like your mid 30s, I'm not looking for a girl that's in her mid 30s, right? Because you mentioned about the biological clock. Like I'm looking for someone maybe 28, 29 that you do date for a year, get married, spend time together for a year or two before you do decide to start a family, right? Because I think that's also important too. Like if you just get married and start a family right away, then like you also miss out on like getting to know that person a little bit more and better. And quite frankly, not everyone is destined to be parents. Not everyone should be parents. Like it takes a special level of patience and love and caring to become a parent. And you know, if that's not what your goal is, then you shouldn't let society pressure you into, oh, because like now we're in the when are you going to get married phase. But then when we do get married, it will be when are you going to have kids phase, right? Like that's just how our Desi parents are and Desi culture is. Last week when you had on girls in their 30s, guys in their mid 30s aren't looking for girls in their mid 30s because of that reason, if they do want a family, right? So I think that's probably also an important point to bring up as well.
You know, I think you're right when you say this. And what I was going to say is, for so many years, we were told to focus on your career, focus on your studies, right? Relationships will come later. Just focus on establishing yourself first. And I think we had it wrong, to be honest. I think you could do both simultaneously in trying to make something of yourself and trying to focus and just on your studies and your job, your career. Too many people just sort of let relationships go and not focus on them. And now you've come to a point where you're older and you're wanting a life partner, but that person is also now accomplished, has a career, is independent, and it's about trying to find someone who fits into your life that you've built for yourself versus you're so young, you haven't started your life, so you start it together and you build a life together when you're younger. So, in my opinion, it seems like we should go back to encouraging kids to date when they're in college, encouraging them to get to know what it is that they want in a life partner, and focus on both. Focus on your studies, your career, but at the same time, focus on your personal life too. And date, get to know people. And then honestly, I would love nothing more than for people to, if marriage is in their mind and they want to get married, because like you said, not everyone's meant to get married, not everyone's meant to have kids. But if it is something that you do want, maybe get an early start on it. And then it's less of an adjustment that you're making with this person. The benefit that Monica and I both had, we got married very young and we kind of grew up with our husbands. So it was so much easier for us to really kind of build the life that we wanted because neither one of us had really sort of gotten to that point where we were set in our ways and we were independent and we had to try to find someone to fit into our particular way of living. It was just, let's build a life together.
Yeah, and I should 100% agree with that. Some of the most healthiest, happy marriages in my friends are folks that either started dating in like high school or early college, right? Like they had known this person for 7-8 years and then they feel very comfortable. It's like they've been married. You know, when they got married, it was just
a
to put a stamp on it, a formality, yes. And yeah, I think in our culture needs to change because in our culture, it's like, don't do anything but like career until you're like 28. By 28, you must have a good job, must make money, X, Y, and Z. And then the next day, you're like, okay, now stop. Then now you go find the person you want to marry, right? There's no, we don't really understand like how human relationships really work. From a cultural perspective, it's just like one or the other. There's no understanding of emotions.
You're right about this. Yeah, because it's been conditioned into us like, oh, if you start having a relationship in high school or in college, you're not going to focus on your studies. You're not going to focus on your career. And I think that is the root cause of what we're facing now, you know? Because that's one commonality that I can find in what you guys have been saying and what the women said last week as well, is that it was the pressure to study hard, to, have careers. And then it was an overnight switch to, well, find someone now, get on those apps, find yourself a partner. And it doesn't work that way.
Yeah, and it gets back to the social aspect of dating, right? Like, if you've never dated before and you're 28 and you're on your first date ever, like, other than your family, you probably never talked to a girl before. Like, yeah, it's going to be awkward. Like, you're not going to make it past the first date most times because she's going to be like, oh, he doesn't know how to talk to a girl. He's never done it before. It's awkward. There's no connection here. And vice versa for the girl as well, right? Like, I've been on some dates, family setups, and it's like, she's never been on a date before, and it's like, this is awkward for me too now. Like, got to do all the heavy lifting here, carry the conversation, and then it's like, all right, I have to send her a "this isn't going to work" text later.
Do you feel like there's pressure from your family to settle down, to get married? And do you feel that what you look for in a woman is somehow passed down from what your parents want in a daughter-in-law?
I'm not sure, because my parents probably want different things than me.
Than what you want.
Yeah, maybe same core values, but day to day, like they probably want someone that goes to the Gurdwara all the time. And right, like little things.
And to you, it doesn't matter if the person goes to the Gurdwara or Mandir or whatnot. So do you think it's important to find someone that has some of the values that your parents are looking for? Or is it more important for you to find someone that you can get along with, that has what you're looking for?
I think it has to be both. That's the complicated problem.
That's what makes it complicated, right?
Yeah. Because first it's you, right? Once all those boxes are checked, then all these other external forces, not just parents, family, everything, right, comes at you. And you need to meet all of them. Not all of them. You need to meet enough of those requirements. Otherwise, it becomes challenging. It's possible, but then it requires a lot of effort from all parties.
Yeah.
And in our culture, I feel like the folks that are older than us maybe don't understand it, so they don't really know like the effort that they might have to put in if their values don't meet.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Also, do girls know how to make roti nowadays? I don't know. Right? Like, first,
why does a girl have to know how to make roti? Do men know how to make roti? Do you know how to make roti?
You ask my parents, right? They wouldn't want to see me making roti, so that's their expectation, not mine, right? So they would expect her to be able to make the sabji and the roti.
Yeah. Meanwhile, you may not even eat the sabji and roti.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah. So, I like that you said that, because this is something that I've been thinking about for quite some time. I feel like a lot of moms cannot see their sons cooking, cleaning. I feel like a lot of moms would have a heart attack if their daughter-in-law's sitting there watching TV and drinking coffee, and the son is sweeping the floor, doing the dishes, and making dinner. I feel like a lot of moms would just sort of start having heart palpitations. And to a certain extent, I feel like that is to blame as well, because as a society, we haven't gotten to that point where it's normal for a man to take care of household responsibilities. And the man may not have any issues with it. Like, he may be totally fine doing this, but it's the mother who can't see it. And that causes friction as well. So, I have 2 boys, and I feel like I'm so mindful of the fact they're still very young, but I know that the responsibility is on my shoulders to make sure that they're self-sufficient, that they're able to do their laundry, clean their dishes, and be able to feed themselves, cook a meal or two. Just because that's what the bare minimum, like you said, that should be the baseline. And all moms should do this for their kids, right? I think even now there's way too many women, way too many moms who cannot stand seeing their sons do this type of work.
And it's not like they're actively doing it, right? I see it with my sisters. Like, I get treated way differently than both my sisters. And I try to tell my mom, like, no, like, don't really give me special treatment, but I do get it. And I mean, part of me does like it, like when she cooks, like I love her. I think everyone loves when their mom cooks the food because from a very young age, you grow up eating her food, right? So there is that difference. But then like, my mom will be yelling at them and not me sometimes. Or I get away with a lot of stuff compared to them. So it might just be a gender thing, not just, your son and wife. Of course, there's that part. But I think in every culture, women are just have different expectations than men.
Yeah, I think like back to your point, it's important that you know how to do it, whether you do it all the time or not. I was mentioning is like it's a partnership, right? Like you have to make it 100%, whether that's 60% you, 40% me, or 70% me, 30% you, whatever that day calls for. That's what you kind of have to do to make it 100%. Those are, survival skills that I think everyone should just have in general, regardless of gender. Was it Karan Aujla said,
Yeah, that's a great line.
What was your guys' take on the episode that you guys listened to last week? Like, what was something that you wanted to kind of, dispute or address?
I feel like that what they talk about is like what everyone feels like nowadays. It wasn't something I wasn't like, oh my God, this is something different.
So you agree that, finding people on apps is kind of a waste of time?
I mean,
you yourself said that you don't even like to go on apps.
Yeah, the app model is trying to, commodify relationships. How do you milk money out of people trying to find someone, right? What's their actual model? If you find someone on the app, really, they lose revenue. Like their main thing is to keep you there, right? And their thing is to like get you hooked on these dopamine, activations when someone likes you or messages you. You don't know first of all it's real or not. And also, I don't know, I feel like a lot of people use apps either when after a breakup or when they're drunk. A lot of people do that, right? Just, it's more of like a fun thing. It's not like most people aren't serious on the apps.
So we keep hearing that females and men both feel that they're not serious on the app. You and Mandeep, what would you say to the girls out there to take you serious on the apps or on the organic ways when you guys do ask them out on a date in person? Like, how are they going to filter you out?
Like I mentioned earlier, just move off the app and into a real life interaction as soon as possible. Like you'll know if they're serious, if they're willing to take that step. If they're being wishy-washy or, oh, I'm so busy, it's like everyone's busy. There's never going to be a perfect time to start. Like you have to take that first step and meet in person, and that'll help your dating life out immensely. Because there's no point of wasting 2 weeks of talking to someone on an app and then you never meet them. Like what was the point of that? I'm not looking for a pen pal.
Yeah, I like that. So, if you're using an app, use it to make a connection and then move it to, like you said, a real life interaction. Go out, meet this person, be open-minded. I think that's the other thing too, is that a lot of times we have like these boxes that we feel like a person has to check off, right? Monica and I, like I think during our time, we didn't really have a checkbox. Like it was really like, okay, the guy has to be educated. He has to be, family oriented, and he has to be at the time, it was very important that if we didn't want any problems, that the guy had to be of the same religion, same caste or whatnot. Right. So that was our criteria. Like that's it. Those three things. Now there's so many boxes that both men and women want to check off that you're busy doing that instead of keeping an open mind and just meeting people and seeing where it goes. So throw away those boxes, really. Throw away those lists. And as long as your morals align, as long as your values align, as long as that obviously physical attraction is there, get to know the person, go on a few dates, and then decide. Don't check your boxes first and then go meet the person, right?
Yeah, you'll miss out on, possibly someone great because they didn't check every single box. I mean, obviously have your non-negotiables, right? Like loyalty, a good person, good heart, things like that. But yeah, you might miss out on someone's personality just because they don't have a master's degree.
Yeah, and most boxes are stupid.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people with masters and PhDs that are, some of the dumbest people you'll meet. Education doesn't mean you're educated.
Yeah. This has been a very insightful conversation. And before we wrap it up, I do want to ask you guys, because one claim that the ladies made last week was that they're very open to, as they're looking at pictures, if a guy is, let's say, a 7, they'll read more information about the person, or they'll give this person a chance, whereas they feel that guys don't reciprocate. For example, like they're very quick to just swipe left if they don't like the person. If she's not a 10 or a 9, it's like left,
I think guys
left,
only swipe
left.
right.
Do you guys do this?
No, not for me. Like, if you're a 7 looks wise and have a 10 personality, like that's what most guys marry. They don't marry the 10 in looks with a 4 personality.
Got it.
Like, if you're looking for a wife, yeah, I'd say, yeah, a 7 looks and a 10 personality wins out every time.
But how do you know their personality when you're swiping? That's the question.
Well, I'm swiping
That
right
is a question.
in the hopes that they have a 10 personality. I'm not swiping left just because they're a 7.
Yeah, what I was trying to say before is guys mostly swipe right. They're not paying attention to this type of stuff. They just want to swipe as many times and see how many women do the same thing on the other end. It's like a numbers game.
Okay. So I would say the golden biscuit of today is start dating younger. You can do both simultaneously. You can date and still focus on your studies and your career. And thirdly, try to go out there and meet people naturally. And don't be afraid to approach women. And women shouldn't be afraid to approach a man. It's been done for years and years, and there's no reason that we can't
also
continue
learn
doing
and
this.
reflect on your dates, right? Or as you're dating. If you're not doing that, I think then feel frustrated at it, right? Try to figure out like what is it that you want and what is it that's happening as you're dating, right? Because a lot of people just date.
Don't date the same person and expect for different results.
Well, that's nice. That's self-reflection too, because you're blaming it on the other person too, on that end as well, right? Like, oh no, that person was bad. That person was wrong. That's why it didn't work out. But if you reflect on what did occur on the date or who you did choose, right, it should save time for both you and the other prospective person in the future.
Yeah, if you talk to every girl out there, right, like their exes were toxic and terrible human beings and they were perfect. So. All jokes aside, like, yeah, to get better at dating, you have to go on more dates.
Yeah.
And that'll eventually help you.
Yeah.
I have a question for you two. If you were us, like right now, like what's your view on this, or what would you do? I feel like it's hard to really.
I'd be screwed.
Why?
I'd be so screwed because
high standards.
Because
you have high standards,
I feel like
right? You won't settle for less.
Yeah.
Yes, and I'm sorry to say, but you know, just like it back in our day, it was very important for guy to meet a girl who hadn't been with a lot of other guys before. And I want to say that's the same for me. It was very important to find a guy like who hadn't dated half of the community. And
not a player.
So that's why I'm saying that's why I'm saying I'd be screwed right now.
Would you still marry your husbands today in like today's dating world? Do you think you would still find them and like marry them if you were like in today's dating universe?
I think I might eventually end up marrying him, but I don't think he would ever be my first choice. Because I think as a human being, he's a great, excellent person for marriage type. But if I was in your guys' position right now, no. And especially being a woman, like, and I think personally, like, I would never put the cultural box in my boxes that I'd have to tick off. So maybe I'd have a larger pool where I could get more of what I wanted. But yeah, I don't know. I think it'd be different. I don't know if I'd end up with the same person. Or I'd be lucky enough to be with the same person if I was in your guys' situation.
Yeah. I think for me, 100%, I would marry my husband because, listen, none of us are perfect. I'm not saying he's perfect. I'm not saying I'm perfect. But I do feel that I have a very strong moral compass, and my husband does as well. That's very important to me. So I feel like, yes, you know, his word means something. He stands for something. He has his beliefs. He has his values. And he's not one to compromise on those. He's not someone who will take the easy way out. And I think those are all qualities that I admire a lot. Do I wish that he would cook more often? Yeah, of course. Do I wish he would take me out on more dates? Yes. Do I wish that he would get me flowers here and there? Yes. But at the end of the day, all of the qualities that he has that make him who he is, I would choose that over and over and over again. That's my answer. And if you're listening, husband, you have yourself a great wife, by the way.
Yeah, they said that in the beginning. Like we were what? Like
appreciative
women, right? That's what you had said, just Paul.
Oh,
yeah,
yes,
women who
yes,
would say thank you on a first date and all that.
Thank you so much, women. Yeah, men marry, thank you so much, girls. Not as you should, girls.
Okay. So girls, go out there and start saying thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Thank you for walking. Thank you for breathing. Thank you for blessing me with your presence, male.
And I will have to say thank you for joining us, guys. It's been lovely. And
thank you.
We'll be back next week.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you for listening to Rue. We appreciate you joining us as we cultivate a community of strong, empowered women, one story at a time. If you or someone you know has a story you'd like to share, please contact us at rudaraz@gmail.com. That's ROOHDARAAZ@gmail.com. Also, do us a favor and please share this podcast with your sisters, your mom, your friends, aunties, your eyebrow lady, like any lady you know. You get the idea. Till next time, kush raho, be well.